Okay, so let's start, right? It's recording now. What we're gonna do is quickly talk about the yesterday class, right? So yesterday we started our Docker class. Okay, Docker is used for containerization, right? How you're gonna pack your code in one as a one module, right? Or one, let's call it one packet, okay? So that you can send it anywhere you need, right? To host or to send your friends wherever it, whoever has to use that, okay? So in Docker, normally how it work, right? Two important concept, okay? The first thing is you have an image. Okay, what is image now? Image is the code, right? Which is packed together to be used inside the Docker. This is the code, okay? The image can be your software, like your application you develop. You can pack that one as an image, or something you're gonna find in the Docker Hub, right? So if you go to the Docker Hub, which is the official hosting for the images, right? Docker Hub, okay? Here, if you go to the Docker Hub, you're gonna find the image. You just log in, right? Just create account and log in here. So for example, I need MongoDB. So they have MongoDB image, right? Postgres, let's look at the Postgres, right? Okay, so this will be the official. There are many images for the same thing. Something you will find official from the Docker image, or maybe the community, right? The people work together and create some image, okay? From the same Postgres, they have another version of Postgres, right? You're gonna find a lot, okay? You see all these things. So even these are Postgres with different name. Some are some lighter versions, something like that, right? But here is the official Postgres. How we can, like if I have to use this image, right? How are we gonna use that? I'll just pull it, Docker pull Postgres, and it will be added to my local machine, right? Local machine. So if I go back to my Docker here, and if I check the image, right? See, I have Postgres added today, okay? 3 months ago, right? It's saying created 3 months ago, but I just added just now, right, to my computer. MongoDB we added yesterday. A backend image I just created, right? So I'm just gonna delete this for now, and we're gonna see how we're gonna create again, right? Okay. So like similar to npm package, npm install, you install the what do you call that, image also in the same way, right? It's just piece of software, okay? Whatever software you need, you're gonna just install it. That image, the software, complete software will be downloaded. It has everything inside, like a runtime environments, whatever supporting uh, packages it needs, right? Everything is there already for that particular software, okay? In our case, if we develop something, right, let's say you are writing e-commerce, your package inside your software, there is everything already, right, to run that program. So it might need Postgres, then you have to install Postgres here from the image, and then connect to this local Postgres, right, to your environment variable, basically your package, okay, your software, and then it gonna receive the database also, right, or it gonna have the access to the database in the local environment. But if you have the database somewhere outside, you're gonna get the API key, right, and you're gonna use that one. So same idea, same concept, right? One second, guys. This plane, right? When there is a big plane coming, it's just near, my place. Okay, the airport. Gonna get big noise. Okay, so let's continue. Now we understand image, right? You have a lot of image already built inside the Docker Hub. Okay, sometimes we create our own image also, right? So that's what we're gonna see today. So now we understand image. Image is nothing but the software which is used inside the Docker. Now, how we going to use that is called container, right? So when we are, let's say this Postgres, if I need to use now, I have to run this. When you run this Postgres, it will create a container. So let's go inside the container, right? And see, I have deleted the image for this for now, right? So, okay, fine. So this is the Postgres MyDB. This is the name of the container. You can name it, you give it any name, right? That is MyDB. That's the container name. The image is Postgres and it's running. It's running, okay, from 33 minutes, right? And that's the URL 5432, right? That's the port for the Postgres, okay? Like MongoDB has 27017. So see, yesterday I was trying to connect here, right? You can see 27017, that is the port, okay? So localhost 27017. If I click here, see, it gives me the information, like it looks like you are trying to access MongoDB, right? If this port is wrong, then I will not find that, okay? I will get that error message what I was getting yesterday, right? But if I have the right port and if my MongoDB is running, my container is running, I can access that, right? So I have access to that container. So this container is running, okay? If I can stop here, I can stop, right? I can kill it or stop it. Now I will try to run this code again or run this command, right? Not command, but the, try to access this port. I'm going to receive error. See, I don't have access, right? So that's how to make something off and on. You can use the command line also, right? To kill this, or you can start, right? So if I have to start this container, I can just copy this container. What you call that? Either I need a name of the container like MyDB. So this is long name. You just copy this code, right, or ID, and then you can go to your terminal and basically run that, right? So the command will be like docker start and the container name, right, or ID, and it will start that container. Look at here, it's just started now, right? 4 seconds. Okay. So what is container now, right? You have image. When you want to use that image, means you want to make that image live. So that means you have to run the container. You can have you can add many containers, right? Does not matter. Okay. You can have container for your software. You can have container for your database, right? And then you can connect to your database container. They all are running in the same machine, same time, right? So we understand container is the module, right? Separate piece of module which is running in isolation by itself. Like it does not need any help from outside, right? It's just running there. So that is container. When something is running, that is container. The software itself we call image, right? So we understand image and container. You have to install this Docker desktop, right? So let's, in today's class, what we're going to do is we're going to create image from simple software, right? So we have some simple Node.js software. So you can initialize using TypeScript. That is what I have done here, right? So it has TypeScript. You can see the dist distribution folder out dir. You can make it /dist, right? So when you build, it will create these folders. For example, I'll just delete this for now, right? I'll just delete this. It has created already. I'll just delete. And the source folder will be your source, right? Root directory, that is .src. So normally when you create node, initialize node, right? And you want to use your what you call the TypeScript. You can initialize the TypeScript also, and just make a source folder, right? The source is the place where you put all your code. Later, when you compile, you're gonna get a dist, right? Based on this root dir and the source out dir, right? Dist. Okay. So this will create in the root directory. It will create dist folder later, right? When you compile. Then in the package here, we have index, that is main file. So that is what it will run, right? That will be the main file in the disk folder. Okay. Build. So npm run build, we can just call npm run build. So it will run that TypeScript command tsc or TypeScript compile -b, right? Basically TypeScript compilation will run and it will create the dist folder with JavaScript file inside. Okay, so we can just run, right? This is simple projects. There is nothing. If you go back to the TypeScript code right here, so I mean we have Prisma also. We'll try to connect to Prisma also, right? We'll see if that will work or not, but we'll try. Okay, I was just working on this, not completed yet, but I think it should work, right? So we have the Prisma client, simple Prisma client, right? You have Express, import Express from Express. You can do that. Just convert it here. Okay, I think that is fine. That should work, right? Let's leave it like that. In the TypeScript, it should work. Let's see. Let's go back and in the TypeScript, right? So you import the Express. You have app here. You can call app use express.json, right? Then you can, like from the Prisma client, we can create our own Prisma client file, right? But when you do npx Prisma generate, it will create the client, okay, which you have access, right? You can import that Prisma client in this format, okay? Then you can execute that function to get a client, so that you have, using this client, you can access your database, right? Like a user, create user, something, like get something like client, or be early in our project we have prisma.user or prisma. something, right? prisma.user.create. So find all, so that's how the function is called, right? So here, like from the root, we don't have the form or anything. Okay, maybe we can use Postman to send like email and name, right? Some information. Okay, from the our Postman, and then if everything is success, it will get the email and name. It will add in our database, right? So user.create, okay, and you're gonna have the rest.json, right? Something like that. So in the Prisma now here, right? You're gonna have simple table called user with the email and name. That is all we have. Okay. So first, what you do, right? When you're gonna clone this from the GitHub, you have to do npm install, because there you're not gonna find. I mean, I have already node module, right? But first you have to do npm install. So I will just run this in the local environment without container, right? And then without container, yes. We don't have image yet, so we're just gonna run it in the local environment. See if this will work, right? So I'll just do npm install. Then I'm gonna have npm. No, not npm, right? So once you install, what are you gonna do, right? You want to start this project, but before that, if you have a database connected, right? Like you're gonna have like a .env file, .env, and you're gonna like just link your database URL. So database URL, we have to find now, right? What is the database URL? See, when I install the Postgres, okay, it will be something like this, right? Let's go back here. What is the GitHub? So, like when we create Postgres, basically you install the Postgres, right? And then you're gonna call the like we have given the username and password. So the password is 123, password 123. The username will be Postgres, right? That's the password. and then it connects to the local host 5432, right? And then you can give the any database name. So this will be the URL to connect your database. That's how it works, right? Basically. So you can just put it here. But normally, remember, when we gonna create the image, we don't put this here, right? So how we gonna pass the environment variable in the image? That we do during the runtime, right? When you run that image, you pass that environment variable also in the command line. So that environment variable will be added to our runtime, okay? If you put here, then everyone can see, right? Even we can add in the Docker file, right? Here, we can add the env, and then just, like, I think we just put that code here, right? The code, whatever we put here, we can add. And it will also do the job. But now this is exposed to the everyone, right? Everyone can see this, because this Docker file, when you create image, right, this file will be available to be accessed. I mean, anyone can access that, and they can have the information about your secret password and keyword and all that, right, about your database, and you don't want to do that, okay? So normally how it work is, you just run it here during the image or during the container creation, right, or during running the image, okay? But for now, right now, I'll just keep it here. We'll see how that works, right? Fine. So what we have done, we just install our packages, right? The next step is build the build command. So because we are just running locally for now, and also we are not going to connect to database, right? We're not going to connect right now. Let's try to see if this project is working or not. So we install, okay, next step is build, right? So what is the build command here? Script npm run build, right? Let's run that. Npm run build. So see, okay, so it's built now, right? So you can see the dist file here with the index.js, all that JavaScript, right? So now I need to run my JavaScript from here. So let's run the server, right? How I can do that? I don't have node one, so I'll just do node and dist/index.js. And because there is no node1, you see just stuck here, right? That means it's working. I can go back here and then I can say localhost 3000, right? And I get a root route, server is working fine, right? See that? It's working, okay? So good, it's good to go right now. What else we can do? Okay, for now, let's look at because today we just gonna look at how we're gonna create image from any simple project, right? How we're gonna create image and run that one, okay? So let's forget about this database for now. We're gonna connect this later. Let's first build the image, right? So I'm gonna delete this. I don't want this in my image, right? So to build the image, right? Something like something like what we saw here, okay? Something we just saw in what is that, in our Docker Hub, right? Postgres image, okay? I want to build my own image for the application I have created, okay? And that image you can even store here, right? And then you can share that anywhere. But the thing is, that is important. But the thing is, why we create image, right? Why? Or why do we need this file, okay? Like, why we need to add this Docker file, right? So this application in the future, for example, I want to run inside the Docker. I want to run in the Docker, right? Let's say I'm hosting my database somewhere in one of the hosting server, right? I'm going to host that, okay, somewhere. For example, just imagine I'm hosting, right? I'm going to host in one of the server, Amazon Web Service, maybe there, right? I have access to their service or one of the system, EC2 machine, whatever, right? Here I have a Docker, okay? I have a Docker here, right? Now I'm not gonna go inside this machine and then run all this command like npm install, npx prisma generate, npm run build, then expose to this port or maybe the URL, whatever URL I have exposed to that one. That's a lot of work to do, right? So what we do is all the command we need. Let's say this service does not have any software, okay? Right now it does not have anything. It running in the operating system called Ubuntu, right? Maybe Linux, okay? It running in Linux, just operating system. Maybe you have to install your own operating system sometime, right? If you are just buying the virtual, service or just renting the system, right? With the 4 GB RAM, some 2 GB or whatever processor, something quad core, whatever, right? And you have to install that. They will tell you, okay, just install one of the operating system, choose from here, right? Maybe you're going to install that. And once you have the operating system, imagine I have now the window, right? Now this is like a computer. I'm going to create a folder. In that folder, I'm going to, just copy my project, right? I'm just going to copy project. Or maybe I will just install the Docker and make the Docker run, right? And let Docker do all the job, okay? But still, you have to copy, right? All your, let's look at here. This is the local system, right? This is my local machine system, okay? By adding this file, what I can do, right? I can copy all this to that machine in one of the folder, right? Because that's the computer. I can create one folder and copy all this there, right? And then I'm gonna run, and I have access to that command line, okay? I have access. Just imagine for that computer, I have access this terminal. I can access in my system here. They have the API, username, password, IP address. You run that IP address, right? And you will get access to that computer, okay? So what you will do now, right? Let me kill this server. What you will do is, you're gonna run something like now you want to build image, right? You have the Docker there already. You have the operating system, and you have this project already, right? Inside that project, important is this Docker file. So my software will run in Node.js, right? It needs Node.js. So that is the base requirement, base program, okay? Now in the Docker, wherever I create image, right? That image will create working directory, that is app. We call it app, right? Now copy everything, because in my terminal, I connected to my whatever folder here, right? This folder. So same thing I will be doing in the cloud computer also. I will have the terminal with that folder connected, and now I'm working on that folder, right? So I'm saying from the root folder, this folder, copy everything to this app, right? Copy there, okay? Just copy everything there. So basically copy everything from the root to the Docker, right? Docker folder, okay? There will be app folder also. So let's imagine just copy everything from here to the app folder, right? Now once you finish copy, so the first thing is it will install the Node.js, then it will copy everything. It will create app directory, then it will copy everything from this folder to the app here. Then it will install, because once you have all this, right, in your new place, like in the new folder, you want to run the npm run install, right? You want to install all the packages, right? You want to install that, and the package will create node modules, okay? It will it will create node module, right? And then package log, all that it will create, okay? Now you're gonna run the Prisma, npx Prisma generate, right? If there is a database, you just run that one, so that Prisma client will be generated. Now you want to build your project, right? So npm run build, so that this folder will be created, and then you have this index file ready, right? And then after that, expose the port, right? Means because you are inside the Docker and you are trying to run your project in the Docker, right? So what I said, first you're going to create image, and that image will run, right? And when you run the image, it's going to create what? The container. And that container is going to have all this step, right? All this step. And finally, once the creation, everything is done, right? Like basically installation part is here. This is the only part which makes the server live, right? So after this process, it will make the container live, and you're going to access now localhost 3000, right? And you will get whatever the the code we just got, like the server is running, right? So something like this. uh, you know this is the route localhost 3000 will run this, right? Okay, fine, let's do up to that point. Okay, let's do that. So what I'm going to do now, right? I'm gonna first how we create image. Okay, so we have the command you can find, right? In the here, how to build and run the Docker image, right? So basically Docker build -t and give the name, right? So of your app, okay, like image name. So we're gonna go back here and we say Docker building the image, okay, the build, right? -t. This is the flag, right? Okay, so what was the flag? Current directory. So this command builds the Docker image using the Docker file in the current directory. So this means this dot will make sure the Docker file is whatever in the current directory, right? Using that one, it's gonna build the image, right? And the tag it with the my node app, right? So basically tag, this T is the flag called tag, right? Tag it with the name of the image. So see in the image here, right? This is the image called Postgres. Similarly, we are giving the name of that image. So that's what we can do, right? So Docker build -t tag, and image name will be maybe back in, right? Back in. So you have to give like unique name. Remember, if this name is already in the, let's say this image you want to host in the hub, right? Docker hub. If this name matches, then it will not work. Okay, you have to have the unique name. But for now, in the local, does not matter. I will call it backend Docker, right? Like that. And then from the local drive, like root directory, whatever this root directory, right? From here, inside that I have this Docker file, which is gonna be used to build the image. So after clicking that, it will run, right? It can start building the image. So npm run npm install. Let's see, this they finish copying app directory, copy, then running npm install. It's gonna take some time, right? So any software, just think like that now, right? You're gonna create a software, you're just gonna add the Docker file there, and you give all the steps, right, to create an image, and then so let's see if we have the image or not, right? Docker images, right? So look at here, I have back in Docker image just now created, right? Okay. So if I want to run this image, right, what I will do, Docker, now to run any image, basically Docker run, and the like you want to run that image, right? So I don't want to give the port because I have already exposed everything here, right? I just gonna call that image name. The image name is back in Docker, right? The Docker run back. Okay, first now let's look at the container, how many container is running. Okay, because when you run the image, it will create a container is the place where the software is running, right? That is what we need to understand. So let's check the container, docker ps, right? So we have two container, okay, Postgres and MongoDB currently in our system, right? So now I'm going to create a new container, docker run, and the back end, right? Back end dash docker, right? Just give the container name. Let's see what happened, right? So it did not return any message. Okay, I think let me check here, right? I think we have to add that like detach mode and all that, so that this terminal will be free up, right? Let's go back and check in our here, right? So see, the backend is running now, right? Running here. Look at this. The backend is running. So that means we should have access to that. See, the container is back in here. So we should have given the name for that container or all that. I mean, we can do that, but let's quickly go to the image, and the backend Docker image is there. Look at this image, right? We just run this one. So now we should have access to the, and there we did not give the port, right? So we did not, even it exposed to that 3000 port. We did not say, okay, when we run the doc container, right? We did not assign the port. Okay, so that may be the issue. So let's quickly check if it is okay, right? Localhost 3000, and I'm getting there is no access, right, for that port. Fine. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna delete this, right? I'm just gonna delete it. Okay, and go back and run again, right? Just try to run it. So see, if you're running if you want to run any container, right, and if that container need to access to the port, we must assign that one. So docker run in the detach mode, right, and then assign the port like this, from 3000 local from the my computer 3000 to the exposed 3000 inside the inside that back in image, right, inside that container. Okay, so docker run, detach mode means just free up this terminal so that you can do anything there, right? Detach mode, run in the detach mode means do not depend on this terminal, like free up the terminal. Okay, so you can do you can insert another command also, right? I think that is good enough. Docker run -d -p 3000 port. Let's run it. So it's running now. Again, it will be very quick to run, right? You see that, and you have access now to that port. Just click it, and voila, we see the message now, right? See that software, our image is running in the container, and we have access to that, right, easily. So that's how you create an image, and that's how you run the image, and you can get the access, right? The only thing is the different will be, right? What I was saying is you're gonna have the cloud computer or virtual machine. You install the Ubuntu or Linux, then you're gonna copy your software there, right? And same thing, what all the process we did from the command line. From that, your Ubuntu command of your virtual machine command line, right? You have access to your machine here, okay? And then you do the same process. Just imagine that there is a Docker, right? Docker, something like this Docker is running already in that machine also. You can install the Docker, and basically, just you can create image, or if you have this image already loaded, right, in the in the cloud here in the, if you just upload your image in the, just upload here, right? And you can connect to that image. So you just run a command to get the image from there, copy from there, right? In that case, you even don't have to copy in your local virtual machine. You have your image uploaded here, just copy from that one and run, right? Like how you do Docker pull, Docker pull, whatever your image name, it will pull to your machine. You just have to run. So Docker run image name. Now you're going to assign the URL, right? Which URL or port or IP address it should be connecting. So in our case, we did localhost 3000, right? 3000. There you might have the, the URL, right? Like the hosted URL, live URL. You connect that one. And same way, the way it work here, you have access to your live server, right? So that is all the, like things you're going to do with the, the way it work, right? That's the whole, like what you call the life cycle. You have the image, you have the container. It's basically how you run it, right? The only benefit of container is once you write or once you make your code run in one place inside the image, right? Or inside your container, that image will run any system. We're gonna have no issue. It will just run, right? Because the container does not depends on this operating system, okay? Container is itself the isolated system, right? It is itself a separate system and it depends everything inside itself, right? Like everything, whatever, everything, all these things, packages, everything here, right, is dependent inside that system only, that isolated container only. It does not, like link to the operating system, right? No, it is separate. So that's why if you have image, send it anywhere, it will run smoothly, no problem. Okay, so we have looked at that, right? So next step is like basically, we have the, let's go back, right? This like database install already, copy Docker pull Postgres, you want to, just run it in the system, right? Something, oh no. Just run it here. Like Docker pull Postgres, right? You can run that and it will install the Docker image inside your Docker, right? And the only thing is you have the image, right? Now you want to create a container, okay? So for example, let's say you have the image of the Postgres, right? You want to run that because you want to, image itself is program, right? But you want to run that. When you run, it will create container. Now to access to that container, right? If that is Postgres, so there is a rule now. You're going to need, that you're going to access the database, right? You're always going to need the database name and the password, right? Okay. Or user, we call it user. You're going to need the user and password, okay? You're going to need that, right? So how are you going to make like Postgres container to work, right? For example, how are we going to make that work? Let me quickly delete this and I'll show you that part also. So I'm going to go here and I'll just kill this this one, right? I'll just delete that. So let's say I already have image, okay? There is an image Postgres. It will, once you do npm, not npm, but Docker pull Postgres, it will download and it will be inside your image, right? This is the Docker engine. It stores all the image, okay? In the right now it is locally, right? It's all in the local system. Now I want to create the container, right? I want to run that Postgres. So how we can do that? Let's look at that. So that is passing environment variable, right? That is fine. So what I'm going to do now, right? Let's see, I had a command here, something like this. So I mean, we can run something. Yeah, we can just run this command, right? Docker run, give the name. If you want to special name for your container, right? Dash dash name. So always any image you run, if you want to give the special name, just call the flag dash dash name and the name of your container. And the E means what was that E, right? I think that is the E argument let you send an environment variable to your Node.js app, right? That is what it means. E means it will send, like here is Postgres password that has to go inside your wherever the environment variable, right? Inside your Node.js app, so that you recognize this. I mean, like whoever needs this password gonna recognize, right? So that is E. Then the Postgres has the port 5432. So from local machine 5432, you want to access the Postgres 5432. So this is the local. When I call it, right, when I say, okay, let me access 5432, so it will, that need to redirect to the Postgres 5432. Run it in the detached mode. That means don't depend on the terminal. You run in the back side, right? And what is the image? Postgres, right? So see, earlier also our image, we say Docker run our image name, right? And we give it the port and also the detached mode, right? We have given the same process. Only extra here is password, right? Even you can give the username, but the username will be same Postgres. Okay, so let's run this. So go to the terminal and run that, right? Oh, I did not copy, so it's complaining why. Oh, it copy everything, right? I don't want that. Just copy this. So now Docker run, give the name of the image mydb, and environment variable is Postgres password. You have to name it in this format, okay? And I just put password 123, right? And the port will be -p port 5432:5432. Run in the detached mode, -d flag, and the name of the image is Postgres. So I'm going to create a container for the Postgres. Enter that, and the container is created because I have image already in the system. It takes second, right? Let's check now. Go back here, and I have my Postgres running. Look at this, it's live. Okay, and here is the port 5432, right? So now you can use that port to access that container. We can do that, right? So let's see. The next thing, in our let's we can give a database name also, right? What we can do is so let's docker run -p, right? Port 3000. We have the 3000, okay, and then the database URL. I didn't test this one, right? I didn't test this, but let's try. Okay, let's see what happens. We'll just look at it. But we learn how to install the Postgres, right? If this will not work, maybe we will continue tomorrow. Okay, let's quickly check this. So we have the Postgres running. Let's see. Oh, the dog are barking. I mean, now the next is, see, the thing is now, right? I have the database URL already. Okay, the database URL will be something like this, but I want to run in the backend, right? Something like this. Okay, this will be our database URL. If you go back here, right? For example, let's say I want to have a, I don't want to put, but let's say I can .env file, right? And here, Postgres. See how we connect to our database Postgres. You have the Postgres : / Postgres : right? So this is the username, this is the password, and then the route, right? Localhost 5432. and then give the database name, right? So maybe this will be, let's call it backend, right? Like that. You can give the database name. So your variable will be maybe database URL, right? Let's call it database underscore URL, like that. So if you store something in the env file, right, now you can in your program, wherever you need, you can access this variable, right, to access the database. Okay, so similarly, what Docker says, right, don't put these things in the env file. Basically you can just run it here, right? How you can do that? There is a command this way. So I'm just going to create something like this. I will change with this name, right? Copy and put it here. Okay. So now just run this, right? And let's see what happens. So go back here, here. Where is that? In the terminal. Is that one? Okay, we can run anywhere, right? Not anywhere, but yeah, I think we can run anywhere in any terminal, does not matter. But let me go back to my code itself, right? I don't know why it's not working. Okay, here I'm just paste what I just copied, right? Now database URL will be added to the in the runtime, right? It added to that what do you call that, in the like this Node.js program memory, right, somewhere. Okay, so create and run a new container from an image, right? Let's see. I think it created a new container. No, it did not, right? Because I have the image already. I don't want to create new one. I have this container already running, right? So there is some error, I believe. Let's look at here. RD1 localhost 543 backend. Docker run requires at least one argument, right? Docker run options image. Because this Docker run, of course, gonna need the container, right? I mean, we have done that. Okay, we have done the same thing here, right? We run the container for the Docker. Okay, guys, let me figure out this, and then we're gonna continue tomorrow, right? So tomorrow, in the tomorrow class, what we're gonna look at is basically database, and I think building image, right? Like I believe the next step will be writing the how you're gonna optimize these things. Okay, like how you're gonna write these things in the optimized way, right? Because see, every time in the real world, right, what you do is CI/CD, continuous integration and development, deployment, right? So every time you deploy your code, this command will run automatically, trigger automatically, right? So you have to write this in such a way that it will be very fast. If something does not need to install, you don't want to install, right? So you have to configure in that manner, okay, like in that order, right? So that's what we're going to talk about in next class. So I will look at what are the things we still have, right? I think one more class will be okay to complete the Docker. But the next step is important one, connecting to the database and maybe adding something there, right? So, this should work. I don't know why, right? This should work, okay? Because I know I used before by just running this much command, right? And I have access to this URL, okay? This URL should be access. So, okay, so right. I don't know. Okay, let me try. Okay, let me see if that worked, right, or not. I don't have anything to test here. The only thing I can do is go back to the Postman and just call the post command, right, and send the data and see if that will that should be picked up or not. Because yeah, so if I just change this one, post, and this will be localhost http :/ localhost, right, localhost. So 3000, right? I mean, that is what we have access. So the Prisma client, right? Okay. Prisma client. I mean, let's do one thing. Okay, let's do one thing. What I will do, I'm just going to add in the env variable for now, right? I just want to see if that is working or not. So I have env variable. I'm going to delete this for now. And this is locally here, right? Okay. Now I see what happened. If this is locally, it's not going to work because we are running in the Docker, right? So it must be in the Docker. Okay. So okay, fine. Let's go back here. That's the database URL, Postgres. And then I think I'm just going to call the image, right? Docker run, because I have image. I don't know how to connect to that one. Back in, that will be back in, right? And then can I just, okay, let me just give the image name, right? So that is back in dash docker, right? And enter and see what happened. So it created the new failed to port is already allocated, right? Okay. 3000 port is already our like our our main server is running already. Okay, so okay, let me see. .env, let me delete, we don't need this. It's just a way to like just to run right, we even don't need a port. Okay, what we can do, right, we just run that this command. Okay, let me change this. I think database URL, right, environment variable, we don't need this port, we have everything running, right? So docker run that Postgres, right? Okay, just expose that environment variable, right? Enter. Okay, require at least. Okay, I don't know what it's run or maybe something else, right? I have to figure out that command. Okay, so that should not work. Next thing what we can do is, yeah, I think, let me think. Okay, I was adding here, right? So localhost 3000 host, right? And if you go to the body, the setting will be JSON, right? JSON, and then just send the name for the email and name, right? So email will be maybe, and the name, right? Something like that, and then send it, and we get error. Okay, so because we still have like the database does not know, right? Basically our program does not know to which database link we need to go. Okay, so if you look at the Docker file here, right, Prisma, schema, database URL, that is Postgres, that is all okay. Okay, That's fine, right? The only thing is now exposing that database URL, exposing that database URL, right? That is what not happened. Well, what I can do is I can delete that container, right, and run it again. That might work, okay? But let's not experiment. We'll look at tomorrow, right? So, but you get the idea how things work, right? We're just gonna make it work tomorrow. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Let me stop here.